There's a whole lot of debate around Cam Skattebo, the running back out of Arizona State, and John and I are no different. We find ourselves on two opposite ends of this prospect evaluation to figure out where we land on them. We're going to go through the tape, we're going to go through the stat profile, and we're going to talk actionable fantasy football advice. Skattebo really was a darling of the 2024 season, especially Arizona State's college football playoff run. Now he's carrying that momentum into the draft. John, what is he going to do with it?
People talk about my guys, in quotes, every draft season. And we've done a couple, and there's definitely players that Matt and I like. What I don't hear enough about are players in which are difficult to analyze and difficult to get a grip on. And Cam Skattebo has been my most difficult analysis over the last 3 months, Matt. First, I enjoyed him this season as much as any player in college football. Probably my number one most watched running back. Absolutely loved him. His statistics in my model say he's actually pretty good. Yet, I have trepidation in regard to his style. Will it translate to the NFL? And ultimately, what is his athletic ability? Because we didn't get to see everything at the combine. So I am torn on this prospect. And I think it's important to be honest with our viewers when you are not 100% sure with a player. And I've gone back and I've looked at this young man in totality. In high school, he was a non-ranked recruit, 0 stars, and he enrolled at Sacramento State in 2021. He doesn't play too much, but as a sophomore in 2022, he is named the Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year. He rushed for 1,382 yards and 7 touchdowns, 31 catches for 371 yards, and 3 more scores. He actually led his team to the number 2 ranking in the FCS. He was so good, he moved up to the FBS level when he transferred to Arizona State for the 2023 campaign. Matt, he was a finalist for the Paul Hornung Award, which is awarded to the nation's most versatile player 2 years ago. He played quarterback, running back, tight end, slot, and outside receiver for the Sun Devils, and he actually returned kicks. But last year, he was simply amazing to watch week in and week out for Arizona State. And I think it's important to remember the Sun Devils were predicted to finish last in the Big 12. Like, no one thought this team was going to be good. Skattebo put them on their back. He finished second in the nation with 1,711 yards and 21 touchdowns. He also caught 45 passes for 605 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was named first team All Big 12. Matt, I loved his 2 playoff games. He earned most valuable player in the Big 12 championship game, 16 carries for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 38 yards and a touchdown in the beatdown versus Iowa State. They were a pretty big underdog against Texas. But, man, that was an unbelievable game. I think it was in the top 3 games of the year, Matt. He was MVP in the CFP quarterfinal. 30 carries for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns and 8 catches for 99 yards. Matt, in December, I really liked him, even after the quarterfinal game. Plugged in the numbers, I liked him. But his style, which you're going to get into more, and when I look at it, I have questions, will that translate to the NFL? And he didn't perform every drill at the combine. And to me, that always leaves a question mark. How athletic are you? But Matt, I know you love the tape. Why don't you tell our viewers what you saw?
Yeah, and don't worry, we will have the Texas tape to watch because that is a fantastic game. Had to make sure that's in the cut up. Setting up his tape a little bit, a couple themes you're going to notice. tenacious, high motor runner. He is the definition of competitive spirit. And you're going to see he finishes through nearly every play. One thing that I think isn't talked about enough with Skattebo is his pass catching ability. And so it made sure to cut up some good examples of that. You're going to see that as well. All right, with that being said, let's actually watch the tape here. And right away, you're going to see the vision jump off the tape. I love Skattebo's ability to get in and through his cuts, but hit those cutback lanes. That's something that I really appreciate about a running back. But look at the patience there. He's willing to let the gap open up, and then he gets decisive and into it. And the contact balance. My goodness, did this man absorb contact. Rarely goes down. Look at this. 2, 3, 4, and takes fifth. Oh, 5 guys, 6. 6 Texas defenders. I mean, this is Texas here. This isn't a scrub team. Look at the pass catching ability here. Good hands, but he's not just to catch it and go down. He's always catching it in stride, looking to turn upfield to make extra yards out of a play, even when it's a one-on-one in isolation here. Even if it's a couple yards, he's gonna get that. That tenacity shines through in his game. Now, you'll notice here, Skattebo, one of the things that kind of is a critique, he's not super fast off the line of scrimmage, but I think he's just being patient, and he's getting that decisive playability. Look at this. Look at this contact balance. This is ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you're going to see not the most long speed out of any prospect, but it's good speed. It's enough to get him 10, 12-yard, 15-yard chunks at the next level. He's got a good second gear that'll hit through the midfield. And you're going to see, too, when he's catching the ball, he's really comfortable with that field vision after the catch. And you mentioned it, John, he played a little quarterback.
Yeah.
How to sneak the quarterback pass into this. A touchdown pass from Cam Skattebo at Texas. That's just kind of a fun one. He's not, you're not going to put him in the projections for touchdown passes. But, you're noticing, John, I did one off tackle cut up here. Most of this is happening in between the A and B gap, but I just wanted to show even off tackle where he's a little bit more limited athletically, he's still fighting and he's still tenacious through the end of his run. So for me, Skattebo, he's not a perfect prospect, but when we're watching this tape and we're watching these highlights here, he's a well-rounded prospect. We're going to finish seeing him, push through the end of a play. He wins at the goal line. He wins with his pass catching ability. And you mentioned it here. The big question mark is athleticism. But I think at least on tape, you could see good lateral quickness and that excellent change of direction ability, I think, can offset some natural limitations that come with his game. You mentioned it, 0-star recruit. That always suggests limited athleticism. And he did start at FCS. And for folks who don't know, Sacramento State in the Big Sky, that's the top of the FCS. So he was able to compete. He was able to translate. He came to Arizona State. He competed and he translated. And so I'm excited about his ability to come into the NFL, compete and translate as well. But sorry.
That's all right.
I have to get I gave us this one here. So I'm excited about his ability to come into the NFL, compete, and win. But John, there is no better way for our listeners and our viewers to compete and win than to take advantage of the resources available over at patreon.com/rookiebigboard. Folks, if you're watching this rookie profile, if you've watched all the rookie profiles, you have to head on over to patreon.com/rookiebigboard. For just $5 a month, you're going to get Dynasty Devy rookie rankings, over 80 full player evaluations for this 2025 rookie class, proven insight that's helped folks draft the Puka Nacua, the Justin Jefferson, the Tyrone Tracy, the Brock Bowers, the Justin Herbert over the last few years. You're going to get access to the Rookie Big Board Discord. The one-on-one draft strategy calls have already started. I'm having a blast with those. And the rookie guide, 100+ pages, is coming out in just a few weeks. There is no better value out there, except there is, because you can get all of that 15% off with an annual subscription. The link to join, whether you're listening or whether you're watching, will be in the episode description. All right, John, so I did my best to make an argument for the film here. I'm very curious to see what the numbers will show here for Skattebo.
At the end of the season, I plugged in my model, and my model liked him, Matt, just like I liked the film work. That's why I was so excited at one point. He's 5'9", 219 pounds. he definitely plays to his size. And his BMI, I've talked about it a lot this year, Matt. It's well over 30. So I like that in his profile and analytical model. He averaged an impressive 5.5 yards per carry. And here's where it gets kind of crazy to realize how good he was, Matt. He had 2,316 scrimmage yards, and his scrimmage yards percentage dominator was 38%. If it wasn't for a player named Ashton Genty, everyone would be talking, I think, about Skattebo and the season he had. I believe he finished 5th in the Heisman, which I actually would have put him 3rd in the Heisman. I thought that's how good he was on the field. He had 69 receptions in 2 years for Arizona State. And according to PFF, he had 45 runs over 10 yards. So my model likes him. Matt, I really wanted him to do well at the Combine. I was looking forward to seeing him. We didn't see him much at the Senior Bowl either, which is a little concerning. I wonder, what is he hiding athletically? We saw the vertical jump and the broad jump, and those were impressive. But you mentioned it, and I have my questions about his long speed on film. And it's hard to always judge on film, so that's why I would like to see other testing drills of this young man. I think his ceiling is capped because of the long speed. I don't know if he can get those 40, 50-yard touchdowns at the NFL level. That's my concern. So that lowers him in my rankings. And I'll be honest, right now, the way I'm looking at my dynasty rookie drafts, I'm probably lower than him. So I'm not willing to pay the cost. But Matt, this isn't about what I want to do. What should our viewers do when it comes to Skattebo?
Of course we care what you're doing, John. Come on now. For me, let's put it all together here. Let's take both sides of this equation here and give you an idea of where Skattebo may go in your Superflex fantasy football rookie drafts. And for me, I'm pegging him right in there in the mid-second round, 205 to 208, because I think me and John are showing a good microcosm of what your league is going to be like. If you're playing in a 12-team league, there's probably going to be about 4 teams that love him, 4 managers that love him, 4 managers that hate him, and 4 managers that are going to be, kind of sitting there and seeing how things play out, right? And for me, I talked about his pass catching ability. That does offset some of that home run capacity that you're talking about, John, right? He's not breaking off 90-yard runs. We know that. But the pass catching upside gives him a nice floor. I think he's going to be drafted day 2 of the NFL draft, probably late day 2, but that's still really good draft capital. And depending on the team, he's probably going to be stepping into a committee type situation, like a split backfield, somewhere between 30 and 40% of the touches on the ground. But even if he gets another 6 to 8% of the overall reception share on that team, you're looking at somewhere between 150 to 175 touches, assuming his backfield mate stays healthy. If that guy goes down, I do think Skattebo has the physicality and the frame to handle a large workload. And I think that's where the potential is with Skattebo. And that's why in terms of fantasy football value comparison, I've compared him, and I am comparing him to Zach Charbonnet, right? Somebody who is a really good number 2, can hold his own fantasy value even when the lead back is there. But think about when Kenneth Walker went down for a portion of time last season, then Zach Charbonnet became really impactful. And John's probably steaming because me and him love Zach Charbonnet.
Oh, we love Zach Charbonnet.
So to compare Cam Skattebo from John's perspective is probably treason, but I'm sticking with it, especially when you think about the role that he should play in a fantasy football offense here. So that's Cam Skattebo. We're talking about his overall value, but again, folks, there is no better value than becoming a Rookie Big Board patron for just $5 a month over at patreon.com/rookiebigboard. If you're watching all the videos, head on over there, support us, drop us a comment, let us know what you thought of this video. Class is in session all draft season long with the FF Educator and the Gridiron Scholar. We're going to be back real soon with another rookie profile.